Hey guys, it's Mcerlane, co-owner and president of JYM Supplement Science. Today, we're gonna be talking about the cable fly, different variations of the cable fly, and how to do it correctly. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button before the video is done. All right, here we go. So most people, when they think about doing the cable fly, obviously it is for hitting the pecs. The different heights and elevations will hit different parts of the pecs. And what I mean by that is the whole pec is firing, but you can put a different emphasis or load on certain areas of the pecs. Predominantly, you can break them up into 3 different areas: the upper, the mid, and the lower pec. It's a fan-shaped muscle. So all fibers of the muscle are gonna be active no matter what you're doing with the fly, but you can emphasize different parts. For these purposes, we're just gonna talk about a standing cable fly, more or less like at a mid-range, okay? So what we wanna do here, many people just think about coming out here and they do flies and they do this, okay? They're leaning the head down and they're doing that, right? Okay? It's all fine and dandy, but that's not really the best way to target the pecs. What you wanna do first, guys, is put your arms and your shoulders in the proper position so that you can actually emphasize the muscle in the best way. To do that, what you want to do, stand ahead of the cable crossover here, and see how my hands are like this? My elbows are pointed back. I don't want my elbows pointed back. I want my elbows pointed down. And what that's going to do, it's going to go ahead and lower my shoulder girdle, rotate forward, and now what happens is my chest is in the proper position to be targeted. If my elbows are up here, what's gonna happen is I'm gonna use a lot of my shoulders, my anterior deltoid, and I'm not gonna get a contraction in my pecs if I had proper positioning. This right here doesn't really contract the pecs. The pecs fire this way. If you were to hook up some electrical currents here, and I did this in college, back in my sports medicine days, and you were to shock this muscle, the arms are gonna do this. They're gonna come up and more or less in like a supine position with your elbows. Your elbows are gonna come in. So what that tells you is that rotating the humerus here is actually going to contract the pecs once they're together. So when you're doing this, if you're doing a cable fly and your elbows are out here, okay, you're pulling more with your anterior deltoids, less with your pecs. So what you wanna do is you wanna get those elbows down, okay? And to start to do that, it's gonna feel a little weird, and you don't have to do very heavy weight. So start moving forward to where the attachments are behind your shoulder, so you have constant tension on the muscle. You can get a staggered stance. I like evening it out with my feet here and just kind of getting a little bit of a bend. Rotate my shoulders down, or my elbows down, and then with my wrist, see how my hands are supine here? Just rotate the wrist forward. Now you can automatically feel that stress and that tension applied to the pecs. So from here, as you come forward, squeeze those elbows together here. And you can really feel a contraction, especially in the middle part of the chest. The more that your elbows are down here, the more contraction you're gonna get in a full range of motion to where you're maximizing the tension on the pecs, okay? Just like this. You can cross if you want. I'm not a big fan of that because you can actually just get enough tension by rotating the elbows. People who cross generally don't understand that their elbows need to be down. So people doing crossover, they'll do this to try and really get more range of motion in the contraction, but they don't have to do that if their elbows were positioned down. Hands here and squeezing. Think about moving the elbows together, okay? If you're having a hard time with the positioning because the load might be pulling you back, a great thing that you can do is just add a bench to it, all right? So what you want is, in this case here, now because you're in a lower position, if you can adjust this down, the position that you want is just right about shoulder height. So if you notice when it was up here, it's just about shoulder height or a little bit above it, okay? If you want to target the middle parts of the pecs. So when you're here, you do the same thing because now you're going to be seated. The nice thing about being in the seated position here is you can really make sure that the scapula is back the way it should be. Just like when you're benching, if you're benching on a regular bench, you don't want the small of your back here to be flat. You want an arch to where you're pinching your shoulder blades together and moving your shoulders down. When you're benching, this is the position that you're in. Chest is out, shoulder blades are pinched, and you're pressing here. Same movement now that you have a bench to where you can kind of use it as like a fulcrum, not a base to where you can have some stability on. So as you're down here, same rules apply, okay? Elbows down, rotate, and you can see by just doing this, what happens is your scapula comes together naturally as it's being depressed and retracted. So you want to pinch your shoulder blades here, come here, head back, not forward. And as you come down, meet your elbows together as close as you possibly can. And having a stable base with the bench gives you a little bit more leverage against the resistance versus standing so you're not moving back and forth, okay? So try that tip. I guarantee you, you guys are gonna feel an amazing amount of tension, much more emphasis placed on the areas that you want. Apply the same principle for when you do a high cable fly or a low cable fly. High cable fly is a little bit different if you're, depending on the angle that you're coming at, to have those elbows down if it's pulling high, okay? So the higher it is, it's very important for you to really expand your chest out here versus being here. You just, anytime that your elbows do this, you're taking the emphasis off of your pecs. And it's gonna be placed more on the anterior deltoids or the shoulders. So that's why a lot of people say, well, I don't really feel it in my pecs. That's the reason why, all right? So if you guys want more tips like this, like, subscribe, make sure to check back with us. We have daily videos, guys, going up all the time right here on Gym Supplement Science. Take care.